It's good to be back, actually. We had a lovely holiday, and just before the holiday, I took my beautiful wife Natasha, who I love very much. Who's watching the show right now. Hello, honey. We went to Disneyland, and we went on a Tuesday night before Christmas, and I thought, man, Tuesday night. Sorry, it was a Wednesday night. Wednesday night, perfect. Nobody going to be there. It's going to be awesome. We'll have the place pretty much all to ourselves. And we got there, and the line of cars going into the parking lot was, 10-minute line just to pay for the parking. And what I discovered was, just by sheer random accident, I managed to pick the last day for people who had annual passes to come during the year. And I think it was also a free day or discount day for city employees or something. I've never, ever, ever seen Disneyland or Disney World, for that matter, that packed. But it was great fun. We had a good time. Uh, there's a when you buy the tickets, and they're not inexpensive tickets. Um, Dave Big Booty would like to know if Natasha will participate in the chat. She watches the show right now. She watches the chat too. I imagine she could do that. I don't know if she's got a sign up yet, but I can take care of that when we get back home. Anyway, so it was really busy. But here's the thing: so you pay like an outrageous amount of money. It's like $130 to get in, and then for this is the part that blew my mind. For an extra $10, you can get a fast pass, which means you go to the front of the line, and a 45-minute wait becomes a 5-minute wait, and it's an extra $10 for the night, which is over a 6-7 hour stay. You probably do 10 rides. It's $1 a ride to save 45 minutes. And it's like I just simply couldn't believe that everybody didn't have this thing. But now that I'm a rich, successful capitalist, I love to lord it over the little people, the peons, the great unwashed, as I simply stroll past these filthy savages, and go to the front of the line where I belong, obviously. Anyway, it was really fun, and the only thing I have to say about it was my my favorite ride experience, not my favorite entertainment experience, but without question, it's my favorite experience ever in any theme park ever by a wide margin. Is the Haunted Mansion. But we got there, and it was Haunted Mansion for the holidays, which means that every single cool thing about the Haunted Mansion was covered up by orange, glow in the dark, fluorescent UV boxes, and every single weird creature out of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. So Haunted Mansion became all about Jack Skellington. And I was looking around saying, what happened to the cool woman there? She's about this big, and her dress is blowing in the wind, and she's talking to you. And what happened to the ghosts that are riding with you? And what happened to this? And what happened to that? Gone. Gone. I was very disappointed. But it turned out it was just that only ride, and the rest of it was really pretty cool. So anyway, we had a lot of fun, and we had a great Christmas. And we had an especially great New Year because, New Year's for the Russians is it's New Year's plus Christmas plus 4th of July, all rolled into one big happy day. And I will just tell you one little brief story about this. I talked to my wife about this earlier, so I suppose this one's cleared. Um, when when you spend 4 or 5 hours, it takes at least 2 hours, maybe three. But when you spend 4 or 5 hours completely surrounded by people that speak a different language and playing different music, it gives me just a taste of what my wife has to go through kind of on a daily basis here. You're sitting here surrounded by music that you don't know, and people come up to you and start asking you questions in a language you don't speak, and it's an experience. So they were playing Russian hits from the '60s and '70s. It's Christmas. It's just like Christmas music that we would have, except it's not so it's much more of a rock and roll kind of a Christmas, New Year's thing. There's no like carols. There's nothing kind of religious about the Russian holiday because 70 years of Bolshevism will take that right out of you. So anyway, I was in there in this restaurant we were there 5 hours, I would say at least that. And I was listening to 4 hours of Russian folk songs. And after about 4.5 hours of this, I was feeling like I'd pretty much got the hang of what Russian folk songs sound like, which is kind of like Mexican folk songs to me. It sounds very much the same. And by the way, that opening song was not Mexican. It was Argentinian. The band that we played on the warm-up was called the Pinguos and Los Pinguos. And the reason I like Los Pinguos so much was because I was working as an editor back in 2001 on a talent show. You may remember that Ed McMahon did Star Search. Well, a year or two after that got canceled. Ed McMahon came up with a completely new show, utterly completely new, called Ed McMahon's Next Big Star. And Pinguos won that competition. I got to watch him perform 4 or 5 times. And in any event, I thought they were awesome and tremendous energy. And I just love that song. So there you go. I may actually put some English songs into rotation, songs in English based on what I'm about to say. So anyway, here we are. And I, needless to say, I didn't drink a lot of vodka, but there was so much vodka in the room that just the evaporation fumes pretty much knock you back pretty hard. And so anyway, 4.5 hours into this, all of a sudden, this live band, semi-live, guys on a keyboard, guy on a guitar, a couple of women singers singing live, and the rest of it's canned background track. But all of a sudden, after 4.5 hours, somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning, they decided to sing Hotel California. And I know this is really obnoxious, and I've already apologized for this, so I'll just wallow in my own crapulence. But when that song came on, I thought, first of all, oh, this is actual music. Number one, this is real music. And secondly, it was great to know the words and know what was coming. And it's just, I was just bursting with pride. I was just bursting with pride on Hotel California. It was something. And it's especially cool to hear Hotel California sung by a guy who does not speak a lick of English, sung phonetically. You can tell. It was like, let me think about so it started out like, on a darker highway, a cool wander, my dear, so fresh up allegiance, rising to up the air. He wasn't getting the words, he wasn't getting the rhythm wrong, but he was just taking a general shot at it. And every now and then you'd catch kind of where he was in the song. He'd get 2 or 3 words in a row, pretty much right on time and on key and everything. He's a good singer, don't get me wrong. It was just the lyrics were a little spotty. Yeah, so somewhere in the middle of the song, you'll be sitting there going, I'm pretty sure this is still Hotel California. And then he'll say, so I call bring captain to bring me my vine. And then he said, and we haven't had that spirit here. And I said, since 1969, I said, I know where we are. This is definitely the song. But anyway, I'm not a huge Eagles fan, and I wouldn't call it my favorite song, but I have to tell you, how they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat. Well done. A knot 47 for you. Well done. I like anybody who can type out an accent is strong with me. But it was really cool and really made me proud, and not in a little stupid way either. It's kind of like, you're listening to 6 hours of music that's been played on every single Russian New Year for the last half century practically. And in the middle of this is Hotel California. And it just gives you an indication of just how powerful and how far-reaching that culture is. It really is. It really is kind of amazing, and it was a really cool moment. Then we went back to our table where they served. She's gonna kill me. It's an amazing culture. I met my wife because I was so deep into Russian culture. I have a very, very high regard for Russian culture. But my limited experience with it is that Russian food is essentially thinly sliced matter with some kind of that has been pickled somehow. Pickled matter, sliced thin, and then put under the sliming machine. I can't describe it any better than that. It's an acquired taste, and I imagine it's acquired after you haven't had any food for 25 days, something like that. Anyway, that was my big holiday story. I'm glad to be in 2019. I really, really, really needed a reboot. I really did, and so it's time to get started. I'd like to thank all of you who survived the 2018 website Tsunami Adventure. We're working on that. I have to tell you too. I don't imagine he's watching now. I hope he's not. And by the way, thank you, Eric. He says, "What's worse, Russian food or British food?" Now, I just in full fairness here, I am one half English, 1/4 German, and 1/4 Portuguese, and so I can say without any hesitation whatsoever that the only food that I've had consistently that's worse than Russian food is English food by a wide margin. English food is absolutely horrible. Jellied eels and toad in the hole, and I mean it's just plain awful. It's horrible, horrible. Anyway, Natasha made me a borscht very early in our relationship. And it was red. It was you'd bring a spoonful of the borscht up, and it was the color that you would paint, like safety jackets on people. So if they were working on the highway late at night, they would not get hit by a car. So it's just kind of red. And if you like beets, it's very, very, very delicious. But we don't get a whole lot of beets here in the American diet. Unless they feed beets to delicious, delicious cows.